Welcome back, everybody. After dozens of hours spent spread over weeks, this is the end result after fettling my Traxxas UDR. I'm really happy to share the results with you guys, and I'm looking forward to showing you what I did to it in detail. It was a steep learning curve, but it was really fun. I learned a lot, and I just want to share that knowledge with you guys. So stick around and let's dive right into it. The first mod that I carried out was to remove the engine fans and replace them with some genuine working electric fans. Now, they do have these little plastic ones inside. You know, why not? I just thought that it was so much better to have them actually work. Hence the switch on the dashboard that operates the two electric fans which I have installed. Power comes from the lighting module. I did find out that there are a few pins on the back of the module which are free. There's a little rubber bung on it and you just have to remove it and you can access them. And with a multimeter I found out a couple of pins which were perfect. I believe I have 6 volts, which is as much as I need to operate these two fans. So I hooked them up on there. I used a Y servo cable and hooked that up on there. So now these fans actually work, which is really cool. It adds to the scale detail, I suppose, and just in case things really get hot in the motor and so on and so forth, I do suppose that it's going to extract some heat and actually be useful more than just look good. So that's the first mod I did. Now the next mod, or upgrade as it were, is one of which I'm particularly proud of. Now, I have extensive mechanical knowledge because I'm a mechanic by trade. I used to be a workshop manager in a classic car servicing company and sadly got laid off because the company went under due to the boss being an idiot and just spending all the money. Anyhow, the story behind the rear axle here is that I went ahead and forked out on a Vitavom 7075, so it's called alloy rear axle. What I like about it is that it's in 2 pieces rather than 3 over the original fitment. And the advantage of having an aluminium alloy casing is that you can potentially seal it. And the idea behind this is that I wanted to modify it so that it could contain some actual automotive gear oil. So that was a challenge that I set myself by purchasing this thing, and I succeeded. It was a steep learning curve, but it was good fun. Now the first thing I did with this thing once I took it out of the box was to sand it down like crazy and polish it, because it looked like a crappy 3D printed part, and I really don't get that. I mean, the part itself is I find quite expensive, and the looks of it was just appalling. I mean, it just looked like it came off a 3D printer or something. So that definitely had to go. And since I was going to take this mod so far as to have it contain some actual automotive gear oil, I thought I might as well, you know, give it a polish and make it look grand at the same time. So that's what I did. I polished it and spent, I don't know, probably 10 to 12 hours sanding down, grinding here and there, and polishing with different polishing compounds to get a almost mirror finish. It's not perfect, but I am highly satisfied with it. It looks a million times better than what it did when it came out the box, so I'm really happy about that. And the next step was to scavenge the innards from the original rear axle and combine that with the modified differential, which is an open type differential. Now the choice of this was essentially because I know for a fact that the original system is a solid axle, and the diff spool has a tendency to break if you shock load it one too many times, which is bound to happen at some point. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and fit this open diff from the get-go and get something decent. You know, I need to seal this thing, so I won't be opening it before long. The optional differential part from Traxxas came fitted, or sort of, it came greased basically. It's got some, you know, that green grease that you'd get in the diff originally. So that definitely had to go. I decided to opt for a limited slip differential effect, and decided to go, you know, I decided to hit it with the thickest silicone oil or diff grease, as it were, that I could find. So I got the 20 million compound from Traxxas as well, and slapped that inside the differential to give it that limited slip differential effect, and so far it works. I haven't had the opportunity to try it that extensively, but you know, it's work in progress, I suppose. Can't go any thicker than that, so that's as good as it's going to get. And yeah, so I went with that, and so far I'm quite satisfied with the effect. It does respond as I expect it to. It is quite thick and generates a good deal of resistance within the differential to simulate the effect of a limited slip diff in a real vehicle. So, you know, so far so good. The next step was to modify the alloy casing itself to have a filler plug, a drain plug, and a vent as well at the top. Basically, I just slapped this on the mill, took some approximate measures, and milled some holes, which I then threaded to accept these M4 stainless steel bolts to serve as plugs. The vent was something interesting as well to create, because I had various designs in mind, and I tried different things which didn't work until I finally figured out something that did. Another mod that I did, I forked out on some aluminium alloy beadlock wheels, and they just look absolutely fantastic. They're gorgeous, and they add a bit of weight down low, which is what you want. And I will be able to change the tires in due course whenever that should be required. Building these is pretty straightforward. You just have to lubricate the lip of the tires. I use some Castrol red rubber grease, which is essentially the same thing as Traxxas marine grease that they sell, except that it's 10 times cheaper. Lubricate the lip of that and press in the beadlock rings. And I found it useful to lubricate all the tiny little screws, because these are like minuscule screws. Lubricate them with some automotive engine oil, just to make sure that I can remove them in, I don't know, 6 months, a year and a half time, hopefully, without stripping them. That's the idea behind this. And just bring the tightness like finger tight, pretty much, in a crisscross pattern, finger tight, and move from one to the other in a crisscross pattern, and that's it basically. With that, you're done. They look absolutely fantastic. I think that's a great mod to do. Okay, so the rear diff has been reinstated, looking fabulous right now. But it's time to take care of the rest of the rear suspension. I've got these suspension links alloy 7075 aluminium suspension links from Vitavon as well. I also bought some shock socks from Dusty Motors to fit on the shock absorbers. It's going to look absolutely fantastic and protect the shocks from the elements. There is a little problem that I'd like to address with these disc brakes here. As with everything made out of alloy, it's fantastic and everything, but there's a huge amount of play in this area, which is absolutely no good. So we'll sort that out. So yeah, I've got some shrink tube here, electrical shrink tube, and I'm just going to cut 2 small pieces. And with my old heat gun here, there we go. Well, there's a lot less play. It's not perfect, but there's less play, right? Nice, okay, good. Right, so that rear end's done. Time to move on to the front end. I did invest in some front suspension arms, lower suspension arms, made of alloy as well, but they are the worst things ever. They're really crap. On one of the sides there was a huge amount of play on the knuckle, on the ball joint, and it was ridiculous. I tried to press it in. I actually made a tool on the lathe to be able to press it in a little further, but it was really no good. There was some binding in it, and it was just ridiculous. There was also a huge amount of play where you place the pin, like the pivoting part on the chassis, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. All this play would induce inaccuracies in the steering geometry, and you know, you're throwing this thing flat out on rough terrain. You need to be as accurate as you can, so that's a no-go. I scrapped these, I dumped them. I'm not using these things, so off they go. The geometry of this thing is just not right. I can't screw it in without forcing on the screw, so I'm mildly annoyed with this, because this was an expensive part, but I'd suggest you just don't use it. Don't buy this part. These are, I don't know, they're scrap, you know, I'll just dump them. Whatever. Next up, I've got this thing from GCR Racing or whatever, GRC Racing, to protect the bottom of the UDR. I've got a whole kit here. I bought the whole thing with, it says stainless steel plus sandblasting. I doubt this is stainless steel. I think it's more like an aluminium alloy or something. Definitely not stainless. And there's an issue with that as well. The holes don't align. Nowhere. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass. All of that because the area of the bend here is no good, so it has to move back just a bit. So I'm going to have to unbend it and rebend it. Yeah, and that should do the trick. Almost there, almost there. I'll get rid of that stupid marking and put my own. That's for sure. Well, that really sucks. None of the holes align. This is like the shittiest thing I've ever seen. None of them align. None. Nothing is aligned. This is ridiculous. Looks good, damn expensive, bloody sucks. What a disappointment. As I was ranting about that stupid armor plate for the floor, I thought, why the heck not, and have a quick look on the inside of the beast, and I like it. Here's a view of the pin system to locate accurately the motor and pinion. However, upon removing the motor, the pin fell out, so I have no idea where it was. We'd have to figure that one out. I have these parts, Traxxas 8581X, which are front or center aluminium differential cases, but I'm also waiting upon a diff checker tool, because I know that this contains some silicone grease or you know, some thick silicone, and I would just like to be able to measure the resistance with that tool and then make adjustments after having messed around with it a bit. So I'll leave that like so for now. Very nice piece of machinery, and yeah, I'll just rebuild it, slap the stupid floor plate on, and then I think we're done for now. Now it really pays to inspect before running. The pinion gear is slightly offset against the spur gear, so that's no good. Stock fitment, as it says in the manual, is 27 teeth for the motor pinion, 51 on the spur, and you need to locate the pin in slot F. Now you know. There we go, so I have realigned the motor and spur gear. So moving on, just look at the poor fit of the floor screws. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's like a good 1 millimeter off. That one too. Those are more or less okay, but still, it's ridiculous. Better than nothing, I'd say, but still, not cool, man. Not cool. Alright, so there it is. The entire floor has been done. Ah, whatever, man. So there we go, that was huge fun. I really enjoyed this challenge that I set myself. I hope you did too. It's a fantastic little rig, so you guys can certainly look forward to much more content coming along this way. So make sure you stick around, subscribe, check out my Patreon as well. It would really help getting this channel off the ground, and I'm highly looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Catch you all later, people. Bye for now.